For this tutorial, we're going to learn the healing and cloning tools in Photoshop. So what I'm going to do is open up this damaged photograph in Photoshop. And it's going to open up like this. What I'm going to do is hit Command and the 0 key, and that'll make it snap to my screen. You could also hit Command ++ to zoom in, or Command - - to zoom out. So a few things here before we get started is we want to know where our healing tools are, where our cloning tools are, and then our brush settings. So over here you're going to see a whole toolbar. If you hover over these things, they'll tell you what they are, and they'll kind of, this new version of Photoshop CC will kind of give you an example of what it does. So if you hover over, right now is our healing brush tool. Repairs imperfections using pixels from another part of the image. If you press and hold, there's a spot healing brush, and that'll show you how it removes marks and blemishes. And then there's the patch tool, which replaces a selected area using a pattern or pixels from another part of the image. So we're not going to really use patch tool so much. We're going to stick with the spot healing or the healing tool, and then the cloning tool, which is just a little bit below it. These work like kind of in a brush format. So what I'm going to do is press and hold here to select my healing brush tool. And we're going to start by repairing the image over here. My brush size is pretty appropriate, but let's talk about how you would adjust it in case yours is not. Over here there's these palettes or windows that I can use, and I want brush settings. If yours is not visible, go up to Window, and these are all the windows that are not open. The only ones that are open have the checks next to them. So mine is open, but if yours is not, go ahead and hit Brushes or Brush Settings, and these will pop up. So I have, have my brushes here, and what I'm going to do now is start to, I'm wondering why this is grayed out for me right now. Why are you grayed out? Oh, okay. I don't know why I had that selected wrong. Okay. So we have our brush. If we want to make it larger, we can adjust the size here. The keyboard shortcut for that would be the brackets that are next to your letter P on your keyboard. So you can bracket up, bracket down, and that's a quick way to do it. The other thing I want you to notice is that there's hardness. So you can lower your hardness all the way so it would be really fuzzy, and then you can up the hardness all the way so it would be like a perfect crisp circle. So we want our hardness to be up for now, and we'll talk about why that is shortly. So here we go. Without further ado, let's start healing. What I'm going to do is start by, like it said, the healing tool takes a sample from another area and then mixes it with where you're trying to repair it. So I'm going to press and hold my Option key, and then I'm going to start to drag. So what I did is when I press and hold Option, this little target appears, and then wherever I click is going to be my sample area. So for example, if I sampled his face, press and hold, click, and then I tried to heal right here, it's going to do something really goofy. Okay, so you're wanting to try and sample an area that kind of fits what you're trying to do. Alright, so as I get up to his head, let's say I get close to his head. Oh no, see what happened there? We got this gradient sort of popping off the side of his head because that's what our healing tool does. It kind of mixes some of the pixels from your selection area with some of the pixels of the area you're trying to fix, and then this happens. We don't like that. So what we're going to do is switch over to our clone tool. And the reason why I had you adjust the hardness before is for this reason. We don't want this to be fuzzy along the side of his head because that looks weird. So what we're going to do, I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller, is select this area to be our sample, or sample area. And then we're going to press and drag just carefully along the side of his face. And there we go. We did that. But we can kind of still see the shadow. So then I'm going to go back to my healing tool. And right now I could even do my spot healing brush tool. And the difference between the spot healing brush tool is that the spot healing brush tool just kind of guesses what pixels you want it to look like. Sometimes it works great. Sometimes it can do something weird. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the spot healing tool right along here just to see if it does anything strange for us or if it works flawlessly. Works pretty well right there. Then we have this line in his hair that we could fix up. I'm going to use a smaller brush. If you use too big of a brush, it's going to make it look awkward, kind of like too blurry. Okay. So something else I want you to notice here is, oh, that's working actually really well. Sometimes if there's a color, see, someone tried to correct this with a marker at one point and it has this reddish hint to it. My healing brush is taking care of that, but in the past I've had that where you kind of still see that red. And that's where you could use that cloning tool to kind of remove that red hue and then go back and heal it. Okay, so that's kind of it. Use your cloning tool if you want to do some more sharper edges. Use your healing tool for smoother edits. You can do some funky, weird stuff with the cloning tool. For example, if we want to copy his eye, we press and hold Alt, and that's our sample area, and we can give him another eye. We could do eyes all over the image if we wanted to. Oh, it's moving. This is changing. Actually, I'm learning this myself now. It used to keep the sample always in the same spot, but now it seems like you have to select it every time. Interesting. So, anywho, that's it. Have fun. Make something look nicer or make something look weirder.